All right, everybody, what's going on? This is another episode of First and Framerates. I am your host, Virtual Footballer, and if you haven't listened to the last podcast, yes, I did change my name back, but this is the Silent Sport, right? But this is the Silent Sports Network, and once again, my co-host Bills is here with me.
What's going on, people?
All right, we're here. We're here. I hope everybody else gonna, check us out and see what we're talking about today.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, because we have a lot on the plate. As you can see on the screen, we're going to be talking about NBA 2K18, the new AI improvements, the blog with video, which is actually surprising. And we're also going to talk about more about Madden and the slider debacle and the defense debacle in that game. And we're also going to talk about some other things. We're going to dip into a little bit NBA Live, and
Yep.
everything else is just going to be a bunch of freestyle stuff. So those are the three main topics, but we don't know what order it's going to be in, but
Right.
it can go anywhere. But definitely, we're going to talk about NBA 2K18. I saw the blog earlier today. I didn't really look into it as much. I know you have, so I would like for you to go first and talk more about it. And once you get your initial thoughts about it, we're going to go down this blog and actually break it down.
Yeah. I just overall like the way they talked about um, teams reacting like they would in real life and switching up game plans real time because that's something that adds a level of unpredictability to the game as
Right.
far as pick and roll defense. Now, the one thing I was disappointed about was the fact that they didn't really talk that much about offense.
Okay.
I would have liked to hear them talk about transition, fast break logic as far as which guys are going to bear to the corner and which ones are going to run towards the rim because we've had
Well,
a lot of problems with fast break.
let's stop right there before we even go any further. You actually think that's going to be in the game this year?
I hoped it would be, but
I mean,
because they haven't spoken about
yeah,
it,
I'm just asking, just let alone that be a tendency. Do you just think that's going to be in the game in general? Because,
I
I
would
mean,
hope.
it's like every other year you will have that, and then, or like every 2 or 3 years you'll have the AI to actually do that, and then it's gone. It's
Right.
like literally, I remember 2K11 had it, 2K13 had it. I
Yep.
haven't seen it again since 2K15,
Hmm.
and I haven't seen it since, honestly.
And I don't get it
May,
because every team doesn't, you know, have shooters running on a fast break to the corner to wait for a pass. Like, also another thing is just as far as controlling your pass and whether it's a lead pass or not. A lot of times your lead pass wouldn't turn out to be a lead pass, and your guys would stop running. Even if they weren't headed towards the rim, they would stop running and catch the ball and kind of stop.
it's kind of funny because College Hoops 2K8 had this down.
Yep.
Why have they not gone back to that?
The best lead passing I ever played with in a basketball game was NBA 2K7 on 360.
Okay, and I can understand that. And like I said,
And yeah,
college.
they caught it in stride. The passes would be deflected if they were supposed to be deflected. If you threw a bad pass, it would be deflected. But most times, if you had a 3-on-1 fast break, that was a bucket.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But
Now, if you have a 3-on-1 fast break, it's like it's a
I
coin
mean,
toss.
at
Like,
least you would have one person going to the rim and one going outside at the least. I will
yeah,
understand that, but I mean, that's just a small gripe that we just put in there. Don't even know that maybe in NBA 2K18, but it'd be nice because that's
right.
basketball. But I'm going to go back on the screen and talk about this back to fundamentals. The
Yep.
adaptive coaching engine has changed in the sports gaming industry, and it says, however, we believe that order the system to be on the next level, we really need to get back to fundamentals and knock down some deficiencies that hindered the system. All right, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. It just said I'm gonna look. It said it could be anything from defender's hip and facing angle, what speed and stance he's in. They use real film sessions. They broke down every cut action that hurt us in previous years. You know,
That's interesting.
yeah, that is interesting, but I think they could have broke that down a little bit better. But they
Yeah.
did use a video, which I'm going to put on the screen right here. Hopefully, I can knock out this the no the audio because oh, there it is right there. And I'm looking at it right here with the Bradley Bill defense.
Yep.
And it's showing this right here. All right, let's move that out the way.
It looked
Okay.
it looked it looked pretty good.
Yeah, that didn't
Um
look bad at all. That didn't look
I
bad
would
at
have
all.
liked to see him kind of deny the ball on that
Right.
first screen.
Yeah.
Only based on their caption, because they said, he basically recognized the three types of cuts that JJ Redick could make. Well, if he recognized them, he probably would have denied the ball.
Right.
But he was there, so I can deal with that.
Yeah, I can do. I think. I mean, we don't all play off-ball defense. I know. I don't. So for me, if I did play off-ball
I
defense,
definitely don't.
yeah, like I said, and if we did, I'm pretty sure that it should be some option for us to do so. But like I said, it does look good. It looks very smooth the first to begin with. It looked
Well,
very
I'm gonna
nice.
assume that it was on default settings. As far as going into defensive settings, I'm gonna assume it was on default. So if you put deny ball, I'm sure you might deny that cut. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Now, another one that says changing of positioning. And it said in previous years, the off ball defense setting, like modern, has always meant the same thing, meaning if you're one pass away, you're going to be X feet away. If you're two passes away, you're going to be X feet away. Like, okay.
That was interesting too that
Yeah,
they pointed that out, especially with the video.
yeah, and they said this is where we needed some more authenticity to the game because in an NBA setting, you have multiple distances and responsibilities depending on the situation. So it's saying now basically your position setting is more important than ever. And I'm looking at this the next video with Lonzo Ball. They're talking about the pick and roll with Julian Randle. So I'm gonna run this
Yep.
one, and we're gonna see this. And I don't think that's Julian Randle, but that's what they said. So we're gonna run that again. It looks like some guy named whoever's number 40. I don't know who that is, but
Nah, Julius Randle is in the
oh,
corner.
okay, I
He's in the
see.
corner.
I
So
get
what?
it. I see it.
So what they were
It's
talking about was basically him bearing off of him because Julius Randle can't really shoot.
gotcha.
So
Okay,
that was
I
that's
see.
what
It
they
said
spoke about.
miss in pick and roll. Look at Randle. Okay, I see. So
Yeah.
I was looking at it the wrong way. Okay, I got you. But overall, that looks pretty good as well. I mean, that looks legit, looks realistic, or whatever the case may be, and I'm not mad at that. From what I see, I'm not saying I see anything different from 17, but I see the things that they're adding to it. It does look legit. You don't see
Right.
anybody doing anything wonky or anything, and so far so good. I'm gonna jump to the
Mhm.
next one real quick. Say play set and action recognition. CPU teammates have the ability to recognize set and action a team is running and just on the fly. This is one of the biggest things you hardcore X's and O's players will recognize immediately. Okay, I'm
Yep.
not I'm not going to go into any more of that. That's basically the main idea of that. So it says coming from semi-transition, OKC goes into 1-4 low isolation. Utah
Mhm.
recognize this and adapt accordingly. I'm not even going to go any further with that. I just want to see the video because I am very interested in that. Let's see, this Russell Westbrook 1-4 low. Let's run that. Okay.
So I like that because
Yeah, I like that
Ingles
too. I like that too.
Ingles was a much further distance away from his assignment than Rubio was.
Right.
So it shows the awareness just automatically without adjusting
Right.
anything.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
I
I'm saying?
like that because like what he did, he stayed closer to him, and I like that. That I mean, it's like the AI actually has a brain now. It's like not everybody just going to one spot and just standing there. So
And that's gonna help defense a lot,
right.
positioning wise.
Yeah, exactly. And there's another one, is high pick and roll, that was successful early in the game. Notice how Porter adapts his gap coverage in this situation by leaving Simmons open, daring him to knock it down from deep. Now, this is interesting because they will give up a lot of shots to anybody.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if they can shoot or not, but they know that Simmons not the best shooter in the world, so they will like lag off of him. You don't get
Exactly.
that. They will lag off of anybody at one point, but now it's
Hmm.
like this is interesting to see. Now let's see this. Okay, and he didn't even go over there.
Nope, he wasn't even worried. He's like, I'm literally gonna let you take the shot. I'm not even gonna close out. I'm worried about this dude driving to the rack. That was beautiful to me. You see
Yes,
that
I
all the
like
time in
that.
the
I
NBA.
like that. I like that. And even in another subtle thing, you see Marcin Gortat constantly staying in the lane, watching the
Yep,
backside of the pick and roll with Embiid. Even though Embiid did get the ball, it forced him to throw up a layup that was rather difficult, and he missed it. So,
exactly.
so all of that looks very good. This is one of the first ones that I've actually seen so far that the AI actually looks great. So that I
Hmm.
like that. That looked really good. This is another one. Settling in the half court. Portland goes into their horn set. These are the three things to watch. Both Lakers drop into set recognition. Ding tightens up on the wing to limit success. Nance Jr. knows downscreen. The downscreen is coming, so he gives space in the correct position. So let's look at this one and see what this one's about. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that one was pretty
Yeah,
nice.
that's another one that's like everybody looked like they know what they were doing, and all three things to look out for just came out into fruition. I'm gonna look at it one more time, and then we're gonna go down a little further and talk about more stuff. Um, well, I'll see what. Yeah, that looks good.
And you can
All that
tell
looks
based on how guys position themselves that they kind of know what's coming.
right, right,
I try my best to do that as a user, but because I'm on ball, it would be great if my off ball guys could, play the passing lanes more realistically if they knew what cut was coming.
right.
So
All right,
that's
here's
good.
all right. Yeah, I like that. This is another one. Many teams have individual positioning adjustments in isolation. This can change depending on where a player catches the ball and who is the on-ball defender. Notice the difference between Boston plays Carmelo Anthony wing isolation compared to Golden State versus LeBron. Okay, we're
Yep.
gonna look at Melo right quick.
So there's a slight difference with that a lot of people might not notice right away.
Right. Okay, I'm looking at Mello. I'm gonna look at it one more time so whoever's watching they can see this as well. It's only a 3 second clip. And another game did a 3 second clip, and you know how that went.
Oh, come on. Really?
All right, here's a LeBron one. Oh, I like that. Yeah, look at what's his name? Oh goodness, Steph Curry. He stayed
So
in
what I
the
noticed,
yeah
well, yeah.
he stayed in the paint just to lag off, just to try to get just to give a little bit of help there. And Derrick Rose is on the wing, and Derrick Rose is a great finisher, but he's not a good shooter. So that I like how they did that. That was
Also,
nice.
notice how Jalen Brown is a lot closer to LeBron, to Carmelo
Yes, yeah,
than Kevin
exactly.
Durant is to LeBron James.
Right,
So that's
exactly.
individuals, knowing, I don't say ratings, but how good of a shooter or not how
Right.
good of a
Yeah,
shooter
because
a
Melo,
guy is.
yeah, because Melo could pull up and hit that.
Exactly.
LeBron's a good shooter, but he's going to more likely try to go to the rim.
Yep.
So that played out very well. So, um, yeah, you go down further. You talk about defensive perceptions. The example to this one is talking about Karl Anthony Towns. Is an example there where he's late to recognize the help. Um, I'm going to go and look at this one real quick. I mean, I don't
So
want to
yeah,
go.
they basically said in that paragraph that if you don't see the ball, you can't defend the ball. So
Hey,
you
we
can't deflect the pass if you don't see it. So that's good.
right, right, right.
Because I remember a lot of times the CPU would magically turn around last year, deflect the pass. I'm like, there's
Oh
no
no,
way
I
you
mean
knew.
no, no. That's been going on for a long time.
Yeah,
I remember when B5, he did it. Yeah, I mean he did it in 2K12.
right.
He did a video on that 2K. I mean that's been a legacy issue. Seriously. So if they picked up on that looks great. Honestly, if they picked up on all of
Yep.
this, I mean, as far as simulation, this is the best I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm going to touch on a couple more things on the screen. Double teams have been refractored. Refractored. New animation coverage for pick and rolls. That will be very interesting to see
Absolutely.
because pick and roll. For me, I never really had an issue with pick and roll, but to see new animations would be great because there's so
Hmm.
many ways to play defense on pick and rolls.
Right.
So I would love to see how that plays out. Zone defense in the pro am, I
Mm.
don't care. I don't play
Right.
pro am, so I'm going past that. Adding authenticity in 2K17, they added more team specific schemes like weak and trap in the box. This year they have more. Um, M- Malone lane line, we don't care about Carl Malone, so I'm not even gonna talk about that. Yeah, I'm
Nah,
hating.
nah, fuck that guy, man.
You know that's your favorite player, man. Stop
I
playing.
I can't stand Carmelo, man. Man, let's just move on,
Yeah,
man.
man, he was 3 wins away of getting a ring with the Lakers, man.
And I'm glad he didn't get it.
his, his daughter got a ring in the WNBA before him.
Yeah, his daughter he wouldn't acknowledge until man, whatever. Let me stop.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
yeah. Let's leave that one alone because
Let's move on.
we can go hours talking about that guy.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
anyway, mismatch adjustments. There's a lot of switching on the perimeter in the NBA. That is true. A lot of switching does happen. So in 2K18, they say if you get a big matched up with a guard on the perimeter, look to see the
hmm
defense adjust and on the ball defender change with defensive pressure on the fly. Now let me tell you something about that. That is nice for
hmm
that to be in 2K18, but NBA Live had that in their game since the PS2 era. No
Yep.
lie, that's one thing Live done very well. If somebody was mismatched and if you wasn't usering the person, they
hmm
will switch automatically, and they did it like it was clockwork. So kudos to 2K to do that because I'm gonna be honest, I never really noticed it in 2K. I
Right.
really didn't really care because I pretty much played, you know, I played on ball all the time.
Yeah.
But like I said with Live, even when you're playing on ball with somebody else, and if they know that a big is on the wing with the guard, they would switch when you're still
Mm.
playing on ball with somebody.
Oh
And
yeah.
you know that's what I'm saying. That's something is they're finally getting in. That's great.
And I
Um,
like the fact that 2K has that, but they also need to have the speed differential for the ball handler to where if you get stuck on a small guy and you're a big man, even as a user, you're gonna be hung out to dry.
yeah, you have no. Yeah, I agree with that. I
And
mean,
if you're the user ball handler, it should be cake for you. Like you shouldn't struggle to get past this guy.
I think one thing I would say about NBA 2K17, they did fix that side of the ball handler.
Right.
You can get past. I think even in 2K16, you can get past the ball handler because they stopped that. Because you remember when they had the shifting where the AI would stand in front of the ball handler no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So they did fix that. But like you said, the reverse side of that, if you're on defense and you get caught with your pants down with the big man in front of the small guy, you can use stick skills to stay in front of that person, and that should not
Right.
be the case. I totally agree with that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, but also like they seem like they've taken a step forward based on what they're saying as far as the ball handler getting past guys that shouldn't stay in front of them. So we're gonna have to see. They still haven't really gotten to the point where the like certain ball handlers feel as explosive as they should, like from a standstill position. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're going into your hezzies and all those moves and then take off, it feels great. But there are guys like Russell Westbrook where it's like just like him running and changing, switching gears, like he's just faster than dudes.
right.
Like once we get to the point where we could feel the difference on the sticks as far as that, that's when they're really going to turn the corner.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. That is something that's really needed, and I mean, like I said, they took the small steps there with 16 and 17 because, like, finally you can get past some defender without the sliding. But
Right.
it's not as dynamic as it could be because, like you said, a Russell Westbrook, a healthy Derrick Rose. Hell, you can even talk about James Harden, for instance. They can blow by people easily, and you just don't feel that on the sticks.
Yeah, because I was playing Live 18 and I was whipping past dudes
Yeah,
with certain
and that's
players.
another thing. Live 18, they done a good job of
Oh,
getting
hell yeah.
that down. And you
Hell
know,
yeah.
and I mean, Live 18, that's going to be something we'll talk about a little later as far as that goes. But You're exactly right. Now, they have another thing on here called cutter and slip help. In basketball prior to 2K18, the off-ball cutter and screen slipping, pick early cause. Okay, that was kind of jumbled, but it caused all type of problems when you tried to cut a screen or whatever.
Hmm.
This year, you could deny the perimeter and hard hedge effectively. Okay, that's
Yeah,
actually
because that's something that I tinkered with a lot, especially in that video I put up about defending the Golden State Warriors. A
right,
couple of times the guys kind of messed up on their coverages. I thought it was ratings based, but now that they say that, it makes me think that it wasn't.
right,
So,
right.
glad they fixed that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I see where Hassan Whiteside is basically staying, where he needs to stay in the perimeter, and
Right.
he's keeping the coverage not only in the perimeter but also keeping, basically a couple of steps away from the paint. So even when they're
Hmm.
moving around, it's not like he's doing anything wonky or anything. So I like
Right.
that. And there's another example of Julius Randle showing hard after Dame Lillard after he's been hurting the Lakers in the pick and roll. Just want to look at Zubac's ability to recognize the cut and slide over to help. This is interesting. I want to see this one. Okay, I like that.
Now, see, for me, I like to hear that automatically when Damian Lillard has been hurting them. That's a coach adjustment that you make to stop a certain play from, having success. That's something that you don't see in a lot of games.
No, you haven't.
Teams adjust to,
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
most of the
teams
stuff.
having success.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most of that stuff has happened in, um, like the college game. Like College Hoops 2K, you can make adjustments, but it was all manual. In NBA 2K
hmm,
as well, you can make those adjustments, but it was manual. Like
right,
if you're doing this, if you're doing this playing the game and it doesn't, automatic, that's a plus. Now I have two
exactly.
things. I have two things about that.
Yep.
One, does that hinder the player from playing the game the way they want to because they may want to be stupid and not do that? Or
Hmm.
two, like I said, once again, does it take it away from the player that it feels like they're not playing the game in general?
Yeah, because I know some people wouldn't want it to be changed. From my perspective, I wouldn't want the whole team to start reacting because obviously your whole team isn't nearly as smart as your two best players.
Well, I'll put it like
But if
this.
your two best players make a change to their strategy individually, I would love that.
I put it like this: if I'm not controlling that player, I want the AI to react accordingly based on his awareness and his
Yep.
basketball IQ. So
Amen.
if he does come down and knows that things been happening too many times and he wants to
Right.
make an adjustment to do that, if I'm not controlling him and I expect that player to make that adjustment, that's one of the reasons why I have him on the court. So
Exactly.
but see, a lot of people they want to user everything, and they want to complain why the game isn't sim. It boggles my mind because if you want the game to play sim, you cannot control everybody on the court. You can't control everybody on the
Yeah.
field. So if you're playing with say if you're playing Madden and you're the quarterback and your player is not running a route properly or whatever the case may be, it's nothing you
Right.
could do about that because that receiver may suck and you may need to draft another receiver, or you need to put somebody else in the game who can do it the way you want it to be done.
Yeah, because most times these changes and coaching adjustments are wholesale changes that we make when we go in the pause menu. But these changes that they're talking about are changes that a smart player would make. You know what I'm saying?
It
Not
repli-
changes that a whole team is going to use when they defend a certain player, but
it should replicate the
yeah,
sport and it should replicate the player. So I
exactly.
totally understand this. So like I
Right.
said,
So as long as Matt Barnes ain't doing this, you know what I'm saying, offensively, because he's not the smartest guy in the world.
right.
Defensively, he is. But as long as Matt Barnes isn't making, world class reads offensively, I'll be fine.
I
And as
don't
long as James Harden isn't making world class reads like
Man,
this
I'm glad you said
defensively,
that. I'm so glad you
yeah,
said it because I'm about to say the same thing. Just like we
yeah,
talked about the big man being a hindrance if he's in front of a good ball handler,
yep,
if you have low defense, I don't care how fast you are, your reaction time should be slower. Get that guy off of him and put somebody defensively on that ball handler. Don't
Yep.
expect James Harden to do what he do, even if you're using him. And yeah, you may be able to do it, but it's just going to be more difficult because his defense is just not there.
And
Therefore,
if I'm dumb enough to leave James Harden on their best scorer, then I should pay for that
if that
if
person
I'm not using
if
him.
that exactly if that person scores 38, there's nobody to get mad at but yourself.
No, nobody. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So, let's see what else. Improve rotations and help angles. We pretty much covered that. They just doubled
That's
down on it.
that's that's much needed.
Yeah, it's much needed. Like I said, but the other examples that we had, it pretty much, it's like that sums up everything else that we talked about as far as the perimeter help and the help on the pick and
Right.
roll. That's pretty much the same thing. So they got a video on that, but there's no reason for me to show that because you saw the other three prior to that. Team,
Hmm.
okay, this is another one that we saw earlier, but Team Pacific help in rotations. Now this is actually interesting because if it's Team Pacific, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's been a long day for me. But anyway, if they have it like that,
Right.
that's a big deal because, like I said, with Madden, you can't go play with one team and expect a different outcome from them using another team's playbook or whatever.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like you can't play with the Lions and expect them to play like the Chiefs.
And I'm
So
glad they got that Memphis. I'm glad they got that Memphis one in there. That example that they used because that looked exactly like how how Mark Gasol would play. He used his length. He
right,
didn't step out so you could go past him, and then
right.
he blocked the shot. It looked good.
He stayed back and he
Yep.
waited and he did it. And one thing, that's one small thing about it. If you notice, he doesn't go inside that arc.
No.
So he knows. I mean, that's one small thing you can see. He does not go inside the arc, so he knows his awareness. One small thing
Exactly. He had
nobody.
a great awareness of where he was on the court, which is another. 2K is very good about their ratings, but that would be a good rating to add, like awareness of where you are on a court.
Or just awareness in general,
Right,
and that'd be
because
a
they
part
have
of it.
somewhat of an awareness slider. Like they have offensive awareness, defensive awareness, but like court awareness is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can agree, and I think if they did do that, that would help with the spacing.
Yep.
I don't know if the 2K18 has better spacing, but that's one thing that kind of
I
hindered.
hope so.
Yeah, it hindered 2K for a long time as far as their spacing. So
Got dudes running out of bounds. Oh man, that's another thing. Uh, 2K needs to fix dudes dribbling out of bounds
yeah, I agree. I agree.
because that kind of ruined some of the games that I played last year. Just like the CPU guys running out of bounds. I'm like, nobody does that.
Right, right. Yeah, I totally agree. Now here's another one. It says, as you notice in the NBA Finals, the Warriors would shrink the floor on on LeBron post-up situations. Here's a
Yep.
situation where they shrunk the floor and then changed the dig responsibilities of the defender. All right,
I
this is
like how that
interesting.
looked too because they brought Steph Curry from the other side and did it.
Yeah, I'm about to look at this now and see. Okay, I like that. I like that. They tried to go in and give help. You didn't see that, and I'm gonna be honest, you don't see that in any game. So that right
Nope,
there is,
because that was inverted. That was literally team specific. Now I'm
man,
having
now
trouble
you're
saying.
having trouble saying.
It was literally team specific. It seemed like there.
Right, right, right. And there's another one is 2K18 LeBron James post boxes. Let's see that one. Okay, once again they tried to, Clay Thompson tried to come in and swipe the ball away. You don't see
And I
that.
like him taking an actual swipe at the ball, not just like a random swipe.
Right.
Like they're actually swinging at the ball. It's
Because
not so much to make a steal and go all out. It's just to distract his rhythm.
no, yeah, but knowing like back in the day what they used to do, they would swipe up.
Yeah.
And you never see them swipe down. Even in
Right.
2K17, they will swipe up, not down. So that was like
Mhm.
really good to see. Now, the same cannot be said when Kevin Love is on. Oh, this is real interesting. This is a good one. The same cannot be said when Kevin Love has the ball on the block. If he's one-on-one with Draymond, the Warriors will stay home and live with the outcome. Now, see, that is beautiful because 4 or 5 years ago, when he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they
Hmm.
would do exactly what they did with LeBron.
Yep.
But now they know how Kevin Love plays, and they will just stay put. Now I'm looking at this, and nobody goes in to help.
And you know what? Maybe if Kevin Love starts killing them, maybe they will make that adjustment.
Man, now
But
that will be another breakdown for another day because unless if we go down further and see, that would be nice to see because we did talk about it earlier where the
hmm
AI does adjust. So like you said, that will be something real nice to see.
right,
You know?
I mean, because I've seen several times in the NBA where a team will start out not putting that much attention towards a player, and by the third quarter they realize, man, this dude's killing us.
Oh, not only that, they'll just call a timeout and you just see things happen. You
Yep.
know? And that's another thing, and I know we're probably getting a little ahead of ourselves. If you have a great point guard or you have like a Tim Duncan on the court, or if you have like a big time player who can lead their players, maybe you don't have to call a timeout. Maybe with that guy on the court would force other players to make that adjustment on the fly.
That's very true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you would wonder why, like, let's say back in the day where you had Phil Jackson never called a timeout or Greg Pop didn't call a
Hmm.
timeout, and all of a sudden you see they were getting beat up like from one, 3 or 4 series in a row, and all of a sudden
Yep.
they're on a damn 10-2 run. And you're like, how the hell that happened? But you have those floor generals to do that, so that would be interesting to see.
And another
Um,
interesting thing would be, I would love for 2K to get into the huddle a lot more as
right.
far as like the audio, because like I know they did it before the fourth quarter would start with certain coaches last year, but it would be great instead of having that sorry ass fake coach that they had last year. If they had the actual coaches talking in the huddle,
But you
that
would,
would be really
Live had it for what since Live 14.
cool. Hmm. Yep.
So what's the problem here? So
Right.
I totally agree with that. That would be nice. They're talking about the defensive setting menu. I'm not going to get into the menu. I'm all about gameplay.
That one looks really nice
I
though,
mean, it looks nice. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to get into it because
because they
it's
said they explain stuff now
right,
to people
right.
who don't get it.
Right.
So,
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get into it with us talking about it because
right.
it's self-explanatory. You go to the menu, it tells you everything right there. So, I mean, I don't think we should. I mean, I'm more talking about gameplay and how things run. So,
Right.
to me, I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah, it's good to have that great presentation. The whole, the situation with that is like, look, you can learn basketball by looking at this. I don't need to say
Hmm.
anything else beside that. This is one thing I'm kind of iffy on. It says difficulty matters. To get the most authentic NBA adjustments from Ace, you would need to be playing on Superstar or Hall of Fame.
Well, you know what that means. We're gonna need sliders this year again.
Exactly. All skill levels below will see limited double teams and changes in situation coverages. You want to know something about this? And I know a lot of people are gonna look at me crazy because SimF Ball Critic, he can attest to this. I've been telling people for the longest, and you can get a really good gameplay out of this if you run your playbook. You play the game on Pro with real player percentage. You got a good, decent gameplay out of that.
Yeah,
All
but the only problem was they didn't use the moves that were assigned to them in their edit player, and
that is
also
true.
they wouldn't adjust to you like they're pretty much
They,
saying
they
now.
they will adjust, but it'd be too late. By then, you'll be up by
Yeah,
15 points. Now, I will agree. I will
exactly.
agree with that. But
Right.
on 2K17, I boosted it up to All Star, and I got a really good, All Star role player percentage, and I got a really good
Yeah,
authentic
also wasn't
outcome.
bad last year.
No, it wasn't. So with them saying Superstar Hall of Fame to get the authentic NBA adjustments, I'm kind of weary about that because especially on Hall of Fame, it was like I'm good. I'm not touching that because it's like it wasn't even about adjustments. It's like, yo, you can't hit shit and they can hit everything.
Yeah,
That's basically what it was.
people are gonna have to wait for you know the usual people to make sliders, and I'm definitely gonna work on sliders for the game. Uh, but they're gonna have to wait for those if
Okay,
they want the
okay,
full effect of that.
right.
So
Right, exactly. So another one they're talking about communication. Is completely driven by the ACE engine. They're gonna call out
Yeah, that's
what's
something I'm
going
not
on.
gonna use at all.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm like, it'd be nice to hear
Maybe
it.
offensively. Maybe
Yeah,
offensively.
I mean, like I said, it'd be nice to hear it while you're playing in game. But I mean, I'm not. To me, it's
I
cool.
wish you could just hear it instead of see it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
I was saying, I think it's cool. It's cool. It's okay. Player helping priority and rotation priority. We talked about that earlier. The pick and roll. We talked about that earlier. Screen responsiveness for Chris Paul. We talked about that. There's differentiation between players. That's good to see. I don't need to see the video on that. It's just good to see differentiation of players doing different things. That just goes back to the AI we talked about. System proficiency. There's one. If there's one thing I assume you guys are going to love, it would be this. Now, system proficiency, how players' skill set, position, and play style fits into coach's scheme, more important than ever. Gone are the days of teams not getting penalized for playing players like Iverson, Kobe, Jordan, Carmelo on the floor at the same time.
Amen
Okay.
to that.
Okay, yeah. It's all right. 8 different systems, balance, pace and space, 7 seconds, post centers,
I like
grit.
how they categorize those. That
Yeah,
was nice.
yeah, I like that too. Grit and grind, perimeter centric, triangle, and defense. Okay, they're going into a big old spill about that. I'm just going to say I like how they broke that down to basically say that people are going to do different things with different people, and
Right.
I like that. Some players like KD.
Because every team will have a designation. And what I like about that, they did say that they asked every coach in the league, or they asked several coaches in the league, to put a designation for all 30 teams of what they thought they would fit into, like as far as those 8 categories. So that was cool. They
Man,
actually conferred with some, real life head coaches on that.
Madden could use that so bad.
They really could,
They
especially in
really,
this goddamn zone, man.
they really could use that because trust me, there's some teams in the NFL I know that you may rarely, if ever, use zone against them.
Yep.
There's a few teams out there that you just play man all day just based on their personnel, but you don't
Usually, if
have.
they have bad receivers.
Yeah, that's it. But like I said, they haven't talked to the coaches in the league, so you don't know that. Like I said, Madden could really use that.
I
Let's see. Another thing is the importance of position.
Amen.
Okay.
Whatever that is, automatically, I like
Yeah,
it.
that sounds good. That sounds good. I
Oh,
don't.
actually, I do know what they're talking about when they said that.
I
Okay.
mean, I kind of get it too. It's just that I'm trying to see if there's anything to go in depth because those 3 words, importance of position. Only thing I'm gonna ask for that if it's important for Carmelo, it should be important for James Harden. It should be important for Chris Paul or anybody who's a ball handler who's witten. You see what I'm saying? Who's willing to take you off the dribble, or therefore
Well,
somebody
no,
who.
they were talking about position as far as a player playing out of position on in the starting lineup. So,
Oh
like,
no, no, no! Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was saying. I was going to get to that. It's like,
right.
for instance, like if if somebody don't have the ball or whatever, you just have to have position where you need to be. So I totally get what you're saying.
Nah, I like that a lot because I mean, I've never done it, but I have seen people go online. When I would get bored and I would go online and play. You have dudes with LeBron at center. You have dudes with Kyrie at the two. And those things are conceivable, but at the same time, you know, based on my personnel, you should get exposed for that.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you put Draymond Green at point guard, you should get exposed for that. So I like that.
Okay, everything after this, they're talking about my gym and my league. They're talking about team building and how much fun that's going to be. Um, let's see. Uh, it's going to have different things as far as let's see. The system proficiency plays a pivotal role to these 2 modes as far as my GM and my league.
Like
Um,
what they said about the fact that if you have a bunch of players that are good in the triangle, but a coach that isn't, it will affect you. If you have a coach that is and players that aren't, it'll affect you. I
right.
like that.
Right. And it also goes into team building as well, as far as like you said, using a triangle, you got to have the right personnel, or if you want to run a certain offense a certain way, you just can't sign the best player.
And they also said that
I
certain
can't.
players will be exceptions to the rule, which I absolutely agree with, but there are a select few.
Right, and I can't tell you how long that should have been in game because I'm trying to think what I think NCAA 14 done it well because with NCAA 14, when you pick a playbook with a certain team, they
Mhm.
run that playbook to a T, and you need the personnel to run that playbook. Like, for instance, you're not going to get the Miami Hurricanes and run Georgia Tech's playbook. Georgia Tech
Right.
runs a triple option. Miami has no clue how to run the triple option, and they don't have the personnel for that.
Nor the
So
coach to teach it.
exactly. So with NCAA 14, that's like the best game that I've seen where personnel and playbooks really matter. So for 2K18 to try that, I'm willing to see how that goes
I like
because
that a
even
lot.
yeah, because even with my GM or with my league that I have it on 2K17, and I was trying to rebuild the Seattle Supersonics. The way I want to run that offense, I want to run it, with the big men in mind inside out. And it's like, yeah, I got two big men, but it just doesn't work the way I want to because the guys that are around them don't want to play the correct way when it's going out. The inside
Hmm.
works, but nobody wants to move around to get open. But like I said, that just goes back to what we talked about with the screens and the perimeter play that they're adding in this game. And I'm really interested to see how that goes.
Hey, you know something else? If an AI team makes a bad trade and has somebody playing in a system he shouldn't play in, you should see that. If Carmelo is playing in a system like Golden State system, you should be able to expose them dudes. Their offense should have, the lack of cohesion that, what happened in real life. Because he's
No,
not that type of player.
no, I agree. I agree. So I mean, that was the end of the blog, and basically just talking about how much fun it is to work on the game, and shout out to the 2K team, yada yada yada. In closing, for us, it sounds good. I'm glad that they actually use videos because we had other blogs like with Madden, and I think it was NBA Live. I think they did a blog or a press release where you didn't actually get to see what was going on
Hmm.
with the game. Oh, excuse me, with the game. So therefore, you didn't get a really grasp of what was going on. You just read about it. So I think they did a great job with that. And anything else you want to add to it? Because we want to jump to the next topic.
I'm excited about what they're doing. And I'm a fan of my players, so I'm kind of waiting on that blog because I really want to see what they're doing. I hope it's nowhere near what they did last year because that shit was ass in my opinion.
I just think they just need to get away from the story mode.
They do. I don't
Uh,
need a story. I'm gonna create my own story. Like, just give me my player. Give me NBA. Well, you can't do Drew League, but give me what you would call it, Summer League, and I'm good.
I mean, a lot of people I like how it was in 2K11. 2K11 was perfect for it, but I think the Spike Lee one was pretty cool. A lot of people didn't
Uh,
like it. I thought it was okay, and
it was
when they kept doing them over and over again with different stories, that kind of got worn out really quick.
Yeah, it's just like you get stuck with this guy, wherever you go, and the orange juice shit. I'm just like, nah, I don't
I
need
mean,
this.
hey, I like orange juice.
Right, but I don't need him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
God forbid we play the same position. You're just gonna move him out of position so he could be on our team. You
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying? It's just
what really irked me, somebody said they got traded to another team, and all of a sudden he was on the team with them.
hey,
That right there, that got me. I was like, yeah, I don't even want to play my player no more.
exactly.
That was just done for me because I'm playing with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's cool but I felt like I was trying to be my own man, but I don't need this guy tagging along with me everywhere. So I was like, yeah,
I
when I
mean,
saw that,
God
I was
forbid
done.
you demanded a trade to get away from him,
Yeah, exactly.
and he ends up there. It's like, fuck.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about another topic that you wanted to talk about. It was basically talking about Madden and these sliders,
Oh
and you
yeah,
was
yeah.
having an issue with those. And you can go ahead and elaborate on that and just let people know where you're at with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can start with the game options. Pretty much, I'm on all Madden right now. Playing 10 minutes. I don't have the accelerated clock on. Ball hawk autos assists are off. Injuries are on default. 10, Fatigue's up to 80. I'll get into that a little bit later. Speed parity is at 50. I didn't touch that. So then you get to the player skill. I pretty much have them on default for the user, except reaction time for pass defense is 0, and pass coverage is 95.
Oh,
Anybody who's played this game will understand fully why the pass coverage is so high.
do you have any plans on putting your sliders out? Because I know there's some people on Twitter have been asking about them.
Oh yeah. So I already have them out. All the people who asked me specifically have already downloaded them. This is going to be an update when I, upload these. Pretty much set with these. I'm not really going to tinker too much more with them. I would recommend you download my roster with it. It's the only way you're really going to see a difference because I adjusted a lot of zone coverage ratings. So that's pretty much the point of these sliders. They go along with the, with the ratings that I adjusted.
Okay,
So
I know you put some sliders out on Madden 18 to upload or download. Is it under the same name?
yeah, so it's under Buzz Simulation. You can go and look at that and download them, see how you like them. I'll also upload my auto subs, which I don't remember by heart right now. But it's also important if you want realistic stats to adjust those auto subs because most times your backups aren't really going to get in, which is why I put the fatigue up so high. If you want realistic stats, you want your backups to get in. You don't want your running back running the ball 30 times. If you're playing, more than 8 minutes, it's important to download those auto subs. Not download them, but adjust them.
All right. Once again, I'm gonna put the link in
Uh,
the I'm gonna put the link in the description for how to find them. You said it's Buzz Simulation, correct?
yep. And
Okay.
then I'm gonna have a video soon explaining them just a little bit. I know that some people kind of don't really understand what these sliders mean because Madden doesn't really give a description of them, you know, as far as what they actually mean. They kind of just, paraphrase a bigger explanation for them. So I'm, I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a video soon about that just so people have a better understanding. And then I'll also show the sliders in motion so that, you can get a feel for how they play.
Right. Right. I
But
mean,
these sliders are needed because they haven't put out a patch yet. We don't know when the patch is coming out. Zone is broken, which basically makes the game unplayable because it's funny. It's like zone is broken, but man is so good that you have to play zone because man defense is so balanced that you can't play man every play. So you have no choice but to play zone.
right.
Then you play zone and you get gashed, and it's
Oh
just
my
like
God.
they
You
they
know,
have no idea what they're doing. They don't realize that dudes are running through their zone. They don't pass, receivers off. It's bad.
no, you know what? And I play with your sliders, and I like them a lot. I highly recommend them if no one has tried them. Like I said, once again, the link will be down in the description. Well, the name of the slide will be down in the description, and I think
Hmm.
they're only for PlayStation 4. But
Yep.
anyway, I have a theory behind these zones being this open, and if you use the pass rush on balance, you cannot get to the quarterback. And
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think I have a reason behind that, and I want your thoughts on this. I
Hmm.
think the reason why they did that is because people can try to use total control passing. What are your thoughts?
I think the reason why zones came out so broken this year, I think it's partly that, but I think it's more so the fact that they didn't want people bitching and moaning about high overall ratings for certain guys because I was looking at those ratings for zone coverage and they nerfed the hell out of them. So, people like Tyrann Mathieu, who should have like a 90, would have an 80. And then, some of the mid tier free safeties would have like 60s. I'm like, there's no starter in the league who should have a 60 something zone coverage. He shouldn't be on the field.
No, I agree. I mean, I totally agree. But I'm just saying, just the way they like, say, if somebody wanted to try to use total control passing,
Right.
The way this game is set up, if you could pop the game in and play on pro,
Hmm.
and you should be able to achieve that. Or
Yeah,
if you
but the only
or
reason
if you're
that I
playing.
disagree is because the user's own coverage is broken, but the computer's isn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, just playing. But what do most people play with? They usually
Oh,
play against each
oh
other.
yeah, true.
See what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's what I'm saying. That's what
now I get what you're
I'm
saying.
just trying to
Yeah,
make a theory to why I don't agree with it. I think it's
right.
bullshit because
Hmm.
if you want to use total control passing, you need to do what I did. You need to do what Pooh did. You need to do what Neo did. Neo on Twitter.
Yep.
We went out there and practiced that shit. And to this
Hmm.
day, I don't have it 100% down, but I got it enough to where I say, you know what? I'm looking at the defense. I think this is a time that I can actually use it. Or if the defense just flips to be a certain way that differently, I can just hold down the left trigger and I can put the ball somewhere where nobody can get it.
Right.
But it takes practice. But I was just coming up
Yeah,
with that.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I was coming up with a theory just to think
No, I
if
could
that
see
was
that.
the
I could
reason.
actually see that now.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because you got to think about it. I mean, and I don't. It listen, Bills. This is a business.
Yep.
When the whole big thing about draft champions came out,
Hmm.
they literally, it's no coincidence why CFM was not working. That's for me. Now, you can call me a
Nah,
conspiracy
I'm
theorist or
right there
whatever,
with you, bro.
but there's no reason why that mode came out and this mode don't work to get people to play draft champions, and all of a sudden, draft champions is a gateway drug to MUT.
Yep.
I mean, people could say, "Oh, that's not true."
It all connected.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And people can say, "Oh, that's not true," or whatever. But who's to say that's not the case? I mean, if you're trying to make money as a business, why not just throw a patch in later after people done bought the game? Hell, it's over with at that point. They got your money. So it's like, okay,
Exactly.
a month later, we're putting the patch for CFM to work. And to be honest, Madden 16 CFM didn't work to damn near December. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I mean, to be
Mhm.
the truth be told, but at the same time, draft champions worked, and you be damned if you're gonna need a patch for MUT. I can promise, I can bet you this. I
Yo,
can,
but that's been our theory the entire
yeah,
time. Can somebody name one game, one Madden, one iteration of Madden where Mutt had anything that was game breaking? You couldn't play it?
exactly. I can promise you that mode will never need a patch. I can
Hell
bet
no.
you. And the thing about it is, that mode is driven mostly, I'll say 80 to 85%. It is driven offline. I mean,
Yep.
not yeah, I'm not offline, but online.
Online.
It's an online mode, and it still boggles my mind why that mode rarely or never have problems because that mode is a money maker. And I get it. It is what it is, but why CFM had to take the fall, which is not necessarily a money maker, just to get people over there and play that.
Right.
I'm almost certain that that was the case in 16.
And
So
mind you, Draft Champions was supposed to be this huge, new thing. They haven't really even touched it.
why would they touch it at this point?
Right. It's like when they struck out with people playing that mode after franchise got fixed, they probably realized, well, we got them to play it while we could. We
Uh,
got our response. Nobody wants to play that shit.
I'm gonna tell you about draft. Draft Champions is excellent for the online gamer. The
Yep.
problem I have with it is tied to MUT.
Yep.
I don't like that. Cause see, my thing is Draft Champions is the ultimate. It's the perfect
It
fan.
reminds me of APF.
Yeah. I'm about to get into that too, because you beat me to the punch.
Right.
But it is the perfect fantasy football video game mode.
Hmm.
Fantasy football is a big thing. If they just leave it at that, draft champions, play against other people, or hell, not only that, excuse me, draft champions to where you can use those teams that you build to play a legit 16 game season.
Yep.
That would be beautiful. Just like you
Hell yeah.
said, all pro football. It was the same concept, but they use legends and generics.
Hmm.
It's the same concept. I think it'd be beautiful, but what they did was you play this, you get coins, let's go play MUT. like I said, I get it. It's a business. They want your money. I get it, but it's a soured mode because it could be something where people who don't have to feel intimidated to use their wallet to play the game. It could be just something, a quick fix where people could just play a quick fantasy football style game and have fun. And I think they'll drive a lot of people in because nobody will feel intimidated to do extra.
Man, I would love to play that mode and run into some teams with, some crazy teams like you ran into on APF.
Right.
Because you have your team and you get to pick from a pool of NFL players, and you're gonna play against teams that are, just as stacked as yours. That would be very interesting.
I think it
Then
will
they
be
can
too.
add a chemistry situation and like they have for Mutt as far as how your line plays and all that stuff. It'll be a great mode.
I agree. I totally agree. So I mean, that's something that I was like, yeah, it could be done very well if it was in that format. I think it'd be
Hmm.
great. So I'm gonna jump to the next thing real quick. I know we talked about NBA Live. Nobody's really been talking about it, and the people who have been talking about it, they have been making their another player like six. I've heard people make another player 6 or 7 times. And I mean, my thought about it is, do you think the demo came out a little bit too early?
No.
I don't think it did either. I
Um,
don't think it did either because of the situation they're in.
they had to preemptively strike on EA on 2K. They had to. If people get tired of the game because they played it too much, that's a good thing. Because once the full game comes out, trust me, they'll go back if they enjoyed it. Um, I definitely don't think they did. People have enough time to play the game a lot, stop playing it, and come back, and the game still won't be out. That's a
I,
good thing.
I think the problem with it is I don't think they came out too early. I think they came out right on time because there was a cancellation of Live 17.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta put something out. You can't keep people waiting because if 2K drop what they drop stuff like this, and you're going to try to play the status quo like you had a title come out last year, you're going to get slaughtered by the time. I don't care how good Live is. They would have got slaughtered because of the fact that you didn't jump the gun.
Yep.
Because you look at all the stuff with the AI improvements. You look at all the visuals that 2K came out with. You look at all that, and if Live just waited till like, okay, we'll wait a couple weeks prior to the game release, and then we'll put out our stuff,
Yeah.
nobody would have paid attention to that.
You know,
And rightfully so because the net to this day I still believe the name, the brand NBA Live has a tainted, brand right now.
yep.
It's still tainted because of what they've been through since Live 10. So it was a brilliant move for what they done. And like I said, if people, like you said, if people are tired of it, it's a good thing. And honestly, it's kind of like it's nothing you can do about it because you've played it enough. Apparently, you have to like it,
Right.
So to a degree, it's on them.
Yeah, so I mean, once the game comes out, they have a great price for it. Hopefully, they announce roster editing. If they don't, they're going to lose a lot of people that they drew in.
Oh my God. They really need
That would
that.
be catastrophic.
They really need that. I totally agree. Without roster editing, I can probably guarantee you I would not play a franchise mode in that game.
I could,
There would
I
be no
could, I,
there'll be no reason to.
I would go as far as saying I wouldn't buy the game. Dead ass serious. Because
I
if
can
2K
agree with that. I
comes
can agree
out,
with that.
right,
I can get with that.
it's like I wouldn't. There would be no point because at the end of the day, I would still have basically a very good version of Live 16 without, or even Live 15 without roster editing, which I mean, it's not a good look. It's just not a good look.
That's still a pretty good game.
It is.
Yeah, Live 15 is still good. I don't care what anybody says. Matter of fact, I'm like, I've been playing an 82 game season on that game,
Hmm.
and I'm like at I'm like 39-11.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good, but I'm second place in the East because the Cavs got me by like 3 games. But
Okay.
it's been a great experience because I enjoy the game. The franchise mode is bare bones, but I like it.
Right.
It has everything there. The roster editing is not there, but I've been playing the game since it came out, and it's like I at least want to finish that season. At
Hmm.
least finish the 82 game season. You know, it's pretty neat. But like I said, like I told you, I think Live 15 is a very underrated game.
Man,
Very
that game
underrated.
better have Ross editing. They've been hearing this shit for years. Like, man,
Well, at least they got manual mouse
uh,
passing.
I mean, that's great, but.
And you know how I felt about that. You know
I
how
mean,
I've been feeling about that. I've been wanting that back in since Live 14. It's
but
like,
there's even an issue with that. You can't even throw a manual bounce pass while you're running.
yeah, that's true. Good
So I
lord.
mean, I don't know, man. Why, like NBA 2K18 is gonna come out and blow these dudes out of the water just with the freelance sets alone.
I'm
It's
gonna
gonna
be
give
honest.
the game more variety.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like for real, if 2K18, like I said, like with 17, if they deliver on half of the stuff that they did this year, like they did, I think they did a little more than half of 17. Because I remember I said it. I was like, if they deliver half of what they did, what they said they're gonna do in 17, it was gonna be a wrap. And it was like, I mean, that game just flew off the shelves. Same thing with
Huh.
16. If they deliver half of what they did in 16, and you saw what happened, that game sold 4 million in a week.
And it
You
seems
know,
like they're not really releasing the game with anything that they would have to patch. So
and,
fingers crossed for that,
and I'm gonna
man.
be honest with you. You know what? I don't remember 2K17 needed an early patch.
Nope, it didn't need it. They just released it and fucked the game up.
No, no, no. What fucked the game up was when they tried to patch shit for that dumbass My Park shit, and it messed
And it
everything.
fucked up everything
It
else.
messed
Yeah.
everything up. Yeah, because just like 16, in the beginning, it played great.
Yep.
But the thing with 16 was, I don't know what the patch was with 16, but it was something, on the court related. It wasn't the My Part stuff. But 17 was like the opposite. Somebody didn't like something on My Part with 17, and it just bled over to the whole game. I'm like,
It was awful.
yeah, it's like 17 now, you don't want to play it, and if you do play it, you have to be real meticulous with it because, I mean, the gameplay's okay overall still.
But
But
I got bored. I got bored with it.
I mean, I didn't necessarily get bored with it. It's just the fact that I looked at it and it was like, why this shifting is in the game? It was not there in the
But that's
beginning.
why I got bored with it because I'm like, I got to the point where I wasn't playing basketball anymore. I was basically competing against bullshit in the game, and that's when
Yeah,
I was like, all
so it's
right,
like,
I'm
why
done.
is this in the game? Like I said, the first couple weeks when we were playing it, then when it first came out, I mean, we were on the
Amazing.
park. We played off the park. I mean, the game played great, and then these dudes come in and no, I don't like this, and they're like, Ronnie's like, okay, I'm gonna tell the people, and then
Right,
and that
exactly.
was it, So it's like, seriously. But like I said, if 2K18 delivers, I'll say once again, half of what they put out there so far. Live 18,
Yo, it's already graphically gonna blow.
I mean, and Live 18 don't look bad. It's just 2K.
It doesn't. It
It's like
just
2K18. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's
exactly.
like, am I looking at a video game? Like, I put on Twitter the Kyrie Irving picture. I'm like, yo, that shit looks beautiful. The fuck was
I mean, I watched the KG and Kobe trailer, and
exactly
when they showed the 5-on-5 gameplay, I was like, yo, there's like no graphical drop.
done? And the game moves smooth. And I'm looking at the people moving around. They talk about this motion without animations. And I'm not even going to talk about that yet. I'm not in the position to talk about it.
Mhm.
But from what I've seen, I kind of see where they were going with that.
Yep.
I do see some things, but I cannot elaborate on it. I need to see long gameplay, and I'm not talking about no shaky camera stuff. I'm not talking about a few things here and there. I
I will
need
say
to.
that Kyrie Irving cross was looking mighty, mighty good.
A lot of things did look good, but it's
That
just
didn't
that.
look like there was any type of animation going on with that. But like
But
I said,
yeah,
like you said,
but the thing about that is that it's easy to catch somebody off of a few movements or a
exactly.
few series up and down the court. It's easy to
Right.
catch. Let me see a full quarter.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, it may be minimal. Oh yeah, I see a little shifting here and there, which I can deal with. I can deal with like if it happens every now and then. But I want to see where okay, this particular movement right here is the automatic shift, and I see it every time it's done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or if he backs down the player, there's a two-man sequence.
I just want the same amount of freedom we have in NBA Live 18.
But no. The reason why I said it because it's like the freedom's there in 18 in Live 18, but it's animation based. It just moves very very smooth,
Yeah.
and it's nothing
Nah,
wrong
it
with
is
that.
animation
Yeah,
based.
but
Which is why
don't
2K has the opportunity to do even more with their on-ball defense and freedom because it's not well according to them
no.
it's not animation based.
Not only that, when I heard about it, I called bullshit. I was like, no, ain't no way that's gonna happen because
Yeah, I didn't believe
live.
it.
Yeah, I was saying because live does a great job with branching animations to the point where it just seems seamless. And that's where everybody feels that oh my god the animations are like it's like it's not there, everything is just flow. I mean everything is just one big movement or whatever, there's no animation, it's just the player moving and that's how no, if you really look at it, everything is still animation based, it's just done and programmed so well whereas like you don't even notice it, and I can live with that too if the game plays that way. It's
See, I'm
just
not
that
gonna lie, but when I first heard 2K was doing, when I read their blog about not the movie not being animation based, the first thing I thought was my first thoughts when I heard about Backbreaker when there's like real time physics. I'm like, yeah,
that's what
fuck
I'm
out of here.
talking. See, that's what I'm
There's
talking
like
about.
no tackle will look the same, and then the game came out. Sure enough,
Oh yeah, that's one thing you can say. The people at Backbreaker didn't lie. It's
oh
just
hell
that
no.
that shit was just out there. It was way too rough. I think 3 years of them
Hmm.
developing that game, and if they would have moved the camera, that
Yep.
game would have been amazing. No
Because
joke.
that Great House patch, just how much improvement they made on that Great House patch alone. That might have been
Right.
the greatest patch in the history of video games. That Great House patch.
I can
People
agree.
don't get how that game was before the Great House patch and how limited it was, and then after the Great House patch.
I can agree with that. I can agree. But like I said, it's like they had it. As
Yep.
far as physics go,
It
they
was crazy.
had it.
It was insane.
Like, but look at it now. Like you look at the Euphoria engine now. You play Grand Theft Auto 5. You go play Grand Theft Auto. Was it? No, it wasn't Grand
4.
Theft. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yep.
You go play any other Rockstar game that uses it, and you see how the bodies move when they get hit by a car or they get shot. You see, I mean,
Hmm.
it looks amazing. To this day, Grand Theft Auto 4 physics just looks great.
It's
When
crazy.
like when you punch somebody in the face on Grand, then the way they fall, it's like that shit could happen on the street right now if I go outside. Somebody will fall like that. So
Yep.
I was like, if Backbreaker had that time to do it, and I'm not saying that it would have been a Madden killer. Like I said, Madden's not going nowhere because of the license and the way they
Right.
implement it. That would have been a beautiful alternative to a football game.
Oh hell yeah! And they
You
had
know what I'm saying?
what an amazing creation suite they had.
Yeah, the creation. I mean, you had people like LT and BB just made
Killing it.
perfect NFL teams. It just looked great. It's like, I mean, man, what could have been? It's like a lot of people shit on Backbreaker, and I get it. It's rightfully so because of the way it doesn't feel like a normal football game. And
But I
if you
do like that Backbreaker was unapologetic about how hard their game was. Like they're like, hey,
no, it
you
was
learn
like,
it
yo, you learn it or else.
or don't play it. Fuck
Yeah, exactly. It was like, yo,
it.
you learn this camera angle, or you just kick rocks.
Right.
And that's another thing. I wish, and this is a great segue. I wish a lot of developers felt that way about their product because, like I
All right.
said, NBA 2K16 and 17 should have never been nerfed like that. The Maddens should have never been nerfed like that. Those dudes from Backbreaker need to talk to these guys and be like, look, F what they're talking about. You keep your game the way it is and learn to conform. People can say, "Oh,
Mhm.
that was the reason why Backbreaker fell." No, it was not.
It wasn't. Yeah.
The reason why Backbreaker fell because of the way the game ran. It's not your typical football game.
Yep.
That's just basically what it was. People just couldn't stand that. But I love the stance that they took. It's like, "Oh, you want a camera angle differently? No, you're going to learn how to play it this way, and it will be satisfying if you learn." Because nowadays, a lot of sports titles don't give the people the opportunity to learn. People go on Twitter, they start crying. 3 days later, "Oh, we're going to come out with a patch. Don't you still love us?"
Yeah,
No, we don't
I
love
said
you.
this a couple days ago. I said that there shouldn't be a shot meter in 2K. Like, if you can't learn every player on your team and how they shoot, you shouldn't be playing the game. I'm sorry.
I can agree with that because I'm gonna
There's
be
no
honest.
reason adults should need a goddamn shot meter. Like, I'm sorry. I just, it's shit like that that
I put it like this.
gets me, bro.
I put it like this. If you play on rookie, you got the shot meter.
Exactly.
Anything outside of rookie, no shot meter.
Like, I shouldn't be online playing against a dude staring at a meter instead of his guy releasing the ball.
Right.
Like, come on, man.
Because, like you said, a Carmelo jump shot, a LeBron James jump shot, a Derrick Rose jump shot, and we all know, Lord knows, Sean Marion's jump shot.
Right.
You have Lonzo Ball's jump shot.
Watch basketball, you want to learn the jump shot. Fuck a damn
Totally,
shot meter,
yeah,
man.
totally different from everybody else. So those shot meters mean nothing to a Sean Marion or Lonzo Ball
Nothing.
easily, because
These dudes want to sim, but they're bitching about a shot meter. Ain't no shot meter in real life. You learn your release and you shoot. And you use
exactly,
repetition. You can go into
exactly.
practice mode and use repetition, release the shot at the same time every time. That's how I learn. Fuck a damn shot meter.
There you go. I'm totally with you on that. So, I mean, good lord. Like I said, the guys from Backbreaker got that shit right. They got it right as far as not catering to anybody. You learn this game or else, and
Yep.
and that's the way it should be.
No, I agree completely. I mean, it was they were completely unapologetic about it, and
No,
it was beautiful because they basically knew that they wanted to release a sim game, and they weren't gonna, change for anybody.
you know what? A lot of people don't realize that game was on the way of being simulation too.
Hell yeah.
I mean, they had double team pass blocking in the game.
Yep.
I mean, like, you gotta think about it. For 2010, they had double team pass blocking. We just now got it in Madden 25. What, 4 or 5 years later? They
Yo,
were. I mean, they were
and I
ahead.
mean, on top of that,
They were ahead of the game, man. Like, seriously, they were ahead of the game.
I mean, they not only that, but they also had a realistic amount of time that you could spend in the pocket. Like, you couldn't just sit in the pocket. All right, even before the Great House patch, you had even less time in the pocket.
Well, that's probably another reason why people didn't want to play either. Oh, I
Right.
need to stand here for 10 minutes and watch Michael Crabtree get open.
You want to do that? Play Madden 17.
Exactly. I'm thinking anything else on my mind.
We're
I don't.
supposed to talk about something else. What are we supposed to talk about?
Oh no, it was live. It was live. It was your sliders, and it was the blog. I think that was really pretty much it. We ended up talking about Backbreaker, which is very, I'm glad that we did talk about that because, like you said, that was one of the few that did not bend to public opinion. You're going to learn how to play this game this way. Damn a patch.
Absolutely.
And we need more of that. We really need more of that. Trying to think. Anything changed your thoughts about Madden outside of what we played so far?
No, I'm enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the game. It's just I shouldn't have to, go through all this trouble to make a slider set
I mean,
to
I can agree.
enjoy zone. You know what I'm saying?
I enjoy it too. I like where it's going.
Yeah,
They just they really need to fix that defense. Point
yeah.
blank. The
I
running
mean,
game.
and I'm
The,
hearing that they're releasing this patch sometime in September. It better be next week.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
That might be too long, man.
It's gonna be too long for people who haven't bought the game. I'll say that much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That might be too long because I
And
mean,
honestly, if they release that shit anywhere around the time that 2K releases, man, this game might get deaded, bro.
that's what I'm saying. That might be too long, man. Because it's like 2K doing what they do, Live is doing what they do. We haven't even talked about NHL 18. I mean,
Right. And FIFA and PES, man, they better get this shit together, yo.
yeah. I mean, the only people gonna be playing this is the competitive guys that want to go play in the tournaments.
Pretty much.
You know, I mean, why would you deal with Madden when you got all the other stuff coming behind it?
I mean,
Seriously.
you got dudes who aren't playing franchise right now.
Yeah, they
Um,
refuse to. They refuse to.
you got dudes who aren't playing the game, period, and they bought it. So yeah,
I'm being serious. The game plays well, but I'm tolerating it based on the adjustments I made.
literally.
That's basically what I'm doing. I'm just tolerating what goes on, and I mean, at the end, I'm getting pretty decent gameplay. It's not like, it's not like one of the situations where I got to make a breakdown video every 5 seconds, but
Right.
it.
Oh, I know what I was gonna ask about. How do you feel about 2K refusing to donate to this retired players foundation in order to get Charles Barkley into the game?
I don't think I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that they should do that just to get Charles Barkley in the game, but I think they should do it off GP because it's the retired players.
I agree.
If Charles Barkley decide to get in the game because of that, that's icing.
I also think that they look worse now that he basically told them the terms and said that the money wasn't even for him and they're still not going to do it. Kind of makes him look bad.
Yeah, it makes them look bad because, like I said, they should do it because you're using these guys in the game.
Right.
And yeah, you may give them money for using their likeness, but let's look at the overall picture. A lot of these guys paved the way for the NBA, and they weren't making the LeBron James, the Michael Conley, the Blake Griffin type of money.
Uh-huh.
They could use that. And
Yep.
it's not just giving the players individual, it's just the one. What about the ones who are not in the game?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm wondering what's going on with Rasheed Wallace's absence.
Well, that could be a different story because I've heard different stories about him not being in the game. And I've heard stories about him not wanting to do it, and 2K not wanting to do it, this back and forth, and I don't know who to believe. And
It's like him, Reggie Miller is one that is surprising to me because he is the most notable TNT commentator that I can think of play-by-play wise.
I'm
So
actually surprised he's not in the game. Honestly, him,
that's
Rashid,
what I'm thinking.
I can get Rashid because I can see Rashid being a little bullheaded and wanting more money than
Yeah.
usual. I can see
But
that in
Reggie
Rashid.
Miller is a head scratcher, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
'Cause
that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
he's now the lead color commentator pretty much
Right,
on their station. So
right. So it's like, yeah, I get it with Rashid, but Reggie should be in the game easily. Um, but like I said, I don't think it should be just to get Charles Barkley in the game. I think it's just a kind gesture. Just you're making their game.
pretty much.
I can't see if Madden's doing it, and if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some stipulation in the contract for them to have the exclusive license to give money to retired players because of the health of retired players in the
I
NFL.
wouldn't at all be surprised, especially with the MUT cards.
Yeah, and the CTE and the concussion stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff is in the contract for EA to give a portion of the money to donate to that cause. Why wouldn't they to begin with? In the scrutiny that the NFL is under now, I wouldn't be surprised that it's not in the contract.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
I mean, for the NBA, I was like, yeah, I mean, what about the
yeah,
guys
it's
who are
like
not in the game?
first and foremost, I would like to play with the '93 Suns.
Yeah,
Secondly, like you said, it would just be a kind gesture. And third,
this shit should be done just on GP.
yeah,
Easily. It should be. Because, like I said, you're making their game. Why
exactly.
wouldn't you? I mean, don't be a dick about it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to say, oh well, we're not going to do that. You know, just because Charles Barkley asked, but he brought up a good point. So regardless of whether he brought it up or somebody else brought it up, regardless of if he gets in a game or not, it's something you should be doing because it's just the right thing to do.
I agree. I totally agree. It is a shame that they finally got him in the game for the Dream Team that one year, but
And that's when I thought, okay, well, here we go. He's gonna get into no.
no. But I
That
think
must have been some type of collaborative, uh, you know, however they got him in. I don't know what kind of loophole they had to get him in.
I mean they obviously they had to talk to him.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? They obviously had to talk to him. So, but I don't know what happened from there because 3 games later, 4 games later, he's still not in the game because that was what NBA 2K13.
No, they had him on 16.
No, it was the Dream Team. Yeah, yeah, 16. So it was two
Mm-hmm.
games later. So it's like
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't really get what's going on there. I mean,
No, I don't get
unless
it.
they maybe had issues getting other players off of the '93 Suns team, and that might have been an issue.
Yeah, that could be it. But
I'm just
uh,
glad they got the ones that they have this year.
yeah,
The
they got some
war,
pretty
the,
good ones.
the '07 Warriors one was a good ad. I do like the 2011 Bulls. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
one.
I mean, we can talk about that topic for a second. Let me get the list of teams. Because like off the top of my head, I do remember those two Memphis teams. I'm like, why the hell?
Yeah, like what they had 2012, 2013 Memphis and '06 Memphis or something.
Yeah, I'm like, why? Like,
Why? Why?
nobody asked for y'all.
They should. You know what they
That
should have did? Honestly, if you want to go talk about the Grizzlies, they should have just put a Vancouver Grizzlies team on there.
would be great.
That would have been awesome. You'd have got Mike Bibby, Big Country.
Yep.
Who was on that team? Abdul Rahif was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that would have been.
Damon Star was Damon Stoudemire on the team at that time.
No, I think he came later.
Yeah, he might
He
have
was
came
on the
later.
team, but I mean, when they first initially started with Bibby and Bryant Reeves,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a pretty dope team back then.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the list. They got the '97 Heat. Obviously, as a Heat fan, pretty happy about that. They got the '99 Knicks. That team's been needed for a while now.
Yeah,
Only problem is it better not come out with no Latrell Sprewell or some stupid shit like that. I'm really worried about some of the dudes that possibly might be left off these teams because
I can see Sprewell not on it because I can see that.
he's on the Timberwolves team, so I would hope he's
That's
on that
another
team. He's the best player.
that's another good team. Cassell, Sprewell, and KG. That was another good team.
Yeah, I was happy when they added that one. If they didn't run into the Lakers that
Yeah,
year,
yeah, 'cause they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah,
uh,
they could have probably. You could have made a case. They probably could have won it all.
yeah, I mean, who would they face this year? That year, they'd have faced the Pistons.
Ooh, that would have been a tough matchup. That would have been a good one
Yeah,
though. That would have been a good one though. Because
yeah,
even though they had Sprewell, Cassell, and Sam Cassell and KG, they had a couple other players that played pretty good defense. That would have been
yeah.
a pretty.
We would
That
have
would have
had
been.
Sheed against KG, and
Oh, that would.
KG already spoke about how he played against Sheed at times. She gave him problems. So
Yeah, yeah, that would have been a hell of a matchup. But that would have been a good series. I believe it would probably been a better series than what we saw.
they got the '02 Nets, which is one of my favorites.
That's a good one. That's a
A
good one.
huge Jason Kidd fan, so
Man,
um,
those Nets teams were pretty good, man. They was like, man, if it wasn't for those Lakers.
exactly. I mean, then they got the '02 Kings, another team. If it wasn't for those Lakers,
Yeah.
they have the '04 Lakers. That's a interesting
Hold on.
one.
The '04 Lakers, isn't that the one with Karl Malone in them?
Yeah, that's the one with his bum ass on
I
there.
don't, I don't care about that team. I feel, if
I want to
anybody,
use that. I want to use that version of Kobe. I'm not gonna lie.
no, 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 no. Kobe and Shaq did their thing. Even Gary Payton did his thing. I just felt so bad for Gary Payton because it seemed like it was ready for him. I mean, he ended up getting one with Miami, but
Right.
it was hum ho. But it was like, it would
Tell
have
you what,
been
I'm gonna
nice. It
use
would
that
have been,
team just to
yeah.
sit Carl Malone's ass on the bench.
Yeah, come on, suck, yo.
All right, who else we got here? We got the '05 Spurs. Now that's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
You had basically Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan all in their prime.
Yeah.
That's a really nice one. Um, you got the '06 Memphis Grizzlies. Don't ask. I have no idea why. I don't know.
How come they got the '06 Grizzlies but didn't have the '06 Mavericks?
I don't
What, the
know.
Mavericks was the team that made it to the finals that year?
Yeah, they were.
The fuck? What are we doing?
Exactly.
I mean,
The '07
even
Warriors.
yeah, even though they lost to the
Right.
Heat, I mean, they weren't a bad team.
Exactly.
They were better than the damn '06 Grizzlies.
Shit. A lot of people better than the '06 Grizzlies. The '07 Warriors, which is my personal favorite.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Of all the teams that they added.
Well,
Uh,
mine was the 2011 Bulls. I'm a Bulls fan.
oh hell, that's another one I'm going to use a lot. The '08 Nuggets. Oh man, with Melo and Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that
Hell
was a
yeah,
good one. That was a good one. That was a good one.
definitely going to like to use that team. The '08 Hornets. CP back in the day. I can get with that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Tyson Chandler was there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember, but I thought he was there.
David West. They have
Yeah.
Morris Peterson's head case ass. Um, and the 2011 Mavericks.
Okay, that's a
Uh,
good one. That was a good one.
I'm a Heat fan. I can't stand that team. But they were a good team. Um,
I mean, at least if you don't put the '06 ones on there, you know,
right, you got to put them on there.
like Jesus Christ. I mean,
The
the '06
2011
Grizzly.
Bulls. That's your squad.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. If I was to
Trying to
play,
think who's on the squad.
that had Rose, Noah. You had
Wow, dang right.
Luau Deng.
Heinrich
You had
off the bench.
Heinrich came off the bench. You had Taj Gibson. You
Mm-hmm.
had who else played on that team? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because you know what Bulls team I'm like. I like that '09 team when they had Tyrus Thomas.
Yo, that dude was nice at one point.
Hell yeah.
What happened to him?
John Salmons. Man, I like that '09 team, yo.
Yeah, what happened to Tyrus? You know
I
what?
don't know.
I couldn't believe the problem with Tyrus Thomas. He was used incorrectly by whoever was the coach. Who was the coach?
Tibbs.
Yeah, was it Tibbs? Tibbs was there back in '08.
Uh,
No, he was the
'09.
yeah.
'09.
No, Tibbs was the assistant coach with Doc Rivers back
Yeah,
then.
but then '09 he was on that was his first year.
Yeah, that was his first year. I remember that.
So
But yeah, was it?
yeah.
I looked that up. I can't remember, but don't quote me on that. I don't. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I just have to look that up because I would think it was 2010, but I don't know.
Even Tibbs and Vinny Del Negro.
Oh God, that's why Tyrus Thomas was.
That guy, Vinny Del Negro. He's been fired from every team that ever turned into anything. Like they turned into something like after he left.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I thought. He got to the Bulls in 2010.
Yeah.
He was the associate head coach in
Yeah.
2007 to 2010. So he was on the team that won that championship as assistant coach with the Celtics.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's what I'm
remember
saying.
that.
Like when Tyrus Thomas was there back in '08, Tibbs wasn't there, but I think he was just used incorrectly. Like seriously, it's like a lot of potential there, but whatever.
I could believe that.
Yeah, it's like so.
Who else did they have? They had the 2012 Knicks. That's gonna be interesting because that team could shoot the lights out, but they couldn't defend
No,
worth the shit.
I agree.
They made the playoffs basically off their shooting. I think they still hold the record for the most threes made. Well, Golden State might have broke that record. I know Steph Curry broke his record twice, but the Knicks at one time held the record for most threes made.
I don't know because you're talking about collectively as a team or just an individual player. Individual player Curry has as a team. I think Golden State may have broke it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the Knicks hit a
They
ton.
had it. Yeah, they had, I remember they had it at one point. If not,
They
they
had a
still
couple
do.
games when they hit 20 something. I'm just like, good God.
Right, right.
Okay, so then you had the 2012 Thunder. Now that's gonna be a really good team to use.
That's a good one. That is a really honestly,
Harden off the bench. Jesus
honestly, if I
Christ.
could pick any team that was selected, I can say that and maybe the '07 Warriors are the most interesting
Oh hell yeah.
because see a lot of people even to this day and it's short history, but a lot of people don't they honestly don't realize how good that team really was.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You know, they look at James Harden now like, oh, James Harden, the superstar, this, that, and that. Nah, this ain't new just because, I mean, he got signed a contract to Houston for a reason. And
Exactly.
I'm not talking about the latest contract. I'm talking about the first one.
And people, this is back when Serge Ibaka liked to block shots instead of sitting out the 3-point line shooting threes and shit. This was Serge Ibaka. I know I ain't gonna touch the ball. I'm just gonna block shots, Serge Ibaka.
Right. That team, that was a real, I hope a lot of people go back if they haven't, even if, you know, they forgot or they don't remember. Just go back and play with that team. That team was really, really good.
I hope they have Westbrook as raw as he was back then. His jump shot was a little inconsistent. As long as they have that right, they'll probably have it down perfectly. But that team
They
was
had
really good.
Tabo,
Yep.
they had Cephalosha. I mean, that team was really good.
Oh hell
Man.
yeah.
So, before we close, is there one team outside of the 93 Suns that you would like to see on this team? I mean on this game.
I mean, you got to get one of those Pacers teams from the '90s in there. I don't see how you don't work them in.
Pacers, I get yeah, I agree.
And the '03 Wizards, I still would like to see
That was
that
gonna be
version of Michael Jordan.
that was gonna be my pick. It was gonna be the '02 or the '03 Wizards. And was the '02 Wizards, that was the one with him and Rip Hamilton together, right?
Hmm.
That's the one I would have picked. That or the '03 oh no, the '02 '03 Orlando Magic.
Yeah, that team was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, good God, what could have been? Tracy McGrady was sick back then. I mean, he was the type of dude that by the third quarter he had 35. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
you couldn't check that dude back then.
No,
He was unguardable.
yeah, it's like before those back problems. I mean, that dude was a monster. It was like, yo, I don't know what happened. You were drinking bad water. I don't know, but his back just gave out on him. But you know what? That goes back to what we, you know, a long time ago, even before we started this podcast. Any player that has to carry a team by themselves, their body break down.
Yep,
And I'm not
absolutely.
talking. I'm not talking about a LeBron James because even though LeBron James carried the team, you know, with the Cavs to the beginning, you got to understand that he was young and he had somewhat help to the point where didn't have to do every fucking thing.
Hmm.
It was almost to that point, and it really showed when he went to the finals. But that when he went to the finals that one year, and it was another year when he went to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's when you really seen him do everything to get where they got. Those
Hmm.
other years, he was the main focal point, but he didn't try to do everything. You
Right.
look at Tracy McGrady, you look at Allen Iverson, those dudes tried to do every single thing, and it just could not work. Their
Yeah, I
body broke
mean,
down on them.
yeah, because I'm looking at these other teams they have here. The last teams I'll talk about pretty much are the 2014 Pacers, really good team,
Yeah,
and the 2016 Warriors, which I think are one of the greatest teams of all time. Glad they put them back on there because they are a bit different than the Warriors that are currently in the game.
right,
So,
right,
um,
right.
I like those additions. I like these teams. I mean, there are some that are missing. I'm sure there's a reason why, but overall, they added some really good teams. I like
No,
those.
yeah, like I said, I mean, we picked the ones that we thought should have been on. You said the Suns, you said
Hmm.
The Pacers
Yep.
from the '90s. I said, I mean, we both basically picked the Wizards. You
Hmm.
know, easily that team should have been on there.
Yeah, man. I
And like
can't
I
really think of any other ones. Uh,
And I
off
mean,
the
like I
top of
said,
my head.
I mean, and like I said, the Orlando Magic for 0203, when Tracy McGrady first got to Orlando, it was
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, I left Toronto, I'm here, I'm gonna show you what I can do, and dude averaged damn near 33 a game that year, and I was
right.
like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So, um, that was great. I mean, we're at the end of the podcast. I mean, we're about
Pretty
over an
much.
hour and 30 minutes. I mean, we did really good. I think this was a good podcast. I think it's a lot of informative stuff. We talked
Hmm.
about a great amount of things. Somebody told me I should put timestamps in the podcast. I don't know. I may do it if it's down there. Then yeah, I may do it. I might put the timestamps in. Anything you want to add before we go?
Nah, I just got to continue to, push the idea of, spreading the word. Pretty much, we need, viewers, and hopefully, you guys tell your friends and have them come over to our channels, and more importantly, listen to the podcast, and we'll keep bringing the content.
Definitely. And my thing is, like, when I decided to come back and bring this podcast to life, my thing was we want to speak for the average sports gamer.
Yep.
We're not trying to push anything on anybody. We're not trying to uh, promote anything.
Right.
Only thing we're just trying to do is give you our thoughts and opinions about stuff. And like I said, the things that we talk about, if we like,
Hmm.
we like. And we're going to
Yep.
tell you why. If we don't, we don't. And we just want to be there for the average guy who just straight up talk and nothing, extra with you need to do this or you need to do that, and we just come and listen. That's it.
Right.
Just come and listen, leave feedback, and let everybody know so we can continue to grow and we can
Hmm.
spread it to people, because at the end of the day, it's just about enjoying the games you want to play. And if you don't enjoy the games that you want to play, or just something's wrong with the game that you don't like or that you like,
Right.
we can discuss it. That's what it's all about. It's not about, just that and the third and, trying to do extra stuff for outside, attention.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we want this community, in an ideal world, we want this community to grow into a community that can interact about sports gaming without bickering and without harping too much on games they don't like and talking more about games they do like.
Oh, I mean, I agree, and I tried to tell people a long time ago. It's like, if you don't like a certain game, let's talk about the game that you like to play.
Right, it's much more enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if there's a certain game I don't like, I like, look, if it comes to a point there's a certain game I don't like, look, I'll pop in my original Xbox. I'll go back and play some of those old sports titles, and I have fun with them
Yeah,
because it stands the test of time for me. I can't speak for everybody else. I'm pretty sure there's something out there for everybody. And, I think that, it's cool to speak on certain things now and then, but I think the main focus is enjoying the games you play, and that's where we are. Um,
absolutely.
I don't have anything else. Once again, if you want to catch any of us on any time of the day, catch us up on Twitter. The links at the Twitter handles will be down in the description. And
Yep.
like I said, any time of the day, please don't try to tweet us at night about stuff. I mean, we're mostly sleeping, we work, and all
Especially
this other
negative
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think anything else, Bills. You know, I enjoy doing this podcast with you. I really do, and
Likewise, man. Likewise.
I really enjoy it. And we're going to be back possibly later on in the week, depends on what goes on, or you'll see us next week
Yep.
with some more stuff. Nothing new that I know is coming up, but like it is, when something happens, we'll talk about it. I don't have
Yep.
anything else, and I guess we're out. Peace.
Peace.